Dan. It's a pleasure you here. First of all, I
Well,
want to congratulate you because in the last few days you have been the protagonist of a great adventure, although it didn't go as expected. But can you tell us how it went and how did you face the difficulties along the journey?
uh, you know, um, the problem in this kind of adventures is the weather, and it is very similar to extreme mountain climbing. You don't always get to the top. You have to renounce usually to the weather conditions because the equipment is all good. Same on my side, nothing wrong with the boat, all perfect. But these are things that you have to attack maybe even few times, and you have to also know when it's not the case to continue. And in my attempt, I was actually very related to the date of 14th because I wanted to leave with E1 series from Dubrovnik, and they were hosting me very kindly. I also gave the press conference about Vela Code to all their special invitees, and it was very scenic departure. But of course, being related to a date of their event, I couldn't really choose the time. I could never choose the time. It's an illusion. But let's say I was hoping that it will be a good time, no? Unfortunately, as you were probably following, the first day I haven't moved. I was behind the island all the way till the night, actually. Like I made like 2 miles,
Wow.
and then in the night I made another 3-4 miles. Then
Okay.
I got some night wind and I made immediately 20 miles because boat is fast.
Yeah,
So the first,
it's an Olympic boat.
it's an Olympic boat, needs practically, even 2 knots of wind is already making you a progress, but zero is really zero even for this boat, no? So yeah, then the first night I was sleeping in the channel, 20 miles north from Dubrovnik. And then the next day I was struggling between a little bit of hours of good wind and total zero. And at the end of the first 24 hours, I made exactly 50 miles, which was, to me, still a good thing because I said, okay, if this is the progress made with no wind, I can
Mhm.
go ahead, no? Second day was even worse, and I was trying and trying all day, and I probably moved only about 25 miles, up to 75 miles. Now it started to look pretty bad, but not bad in terms of any trouble, bad for the mileage and the record, no?
Yeah.
Um, I was good, everything was perfect, it was just slow, no? The third day, I was slowly progressing toward the town of Korčula,
Okay.
and then I got really good wind, and in like a couple of hours made 25 miles with top speeds over 12 knots. Like this is really pushing the laser, no? Um, and I made it to the Isola of Hvar, to the island of Hvar. But I was already aware that a big storm is coming, which was totally unannounced. Nobody ever
Yeah.
spoke about that. By the time it came to me, I already had news that it made a disaster in the north of Adriatic. There were 30 boats on the ground. A ferry boat sunk in the town of Zara with 25 people on board. So I
It
was
was a
waiting
desert.
very near one bay, and even inside the bay I was circulating, waiting for that storm and see if it's coming also to me. I have to go on shore, of course, no?
Yeah, because
Which eventually happened. If you know those movies with Bud Spencer and Terence Hill, it hit me like Bud Spencer on my neck. It was immediately a gust of 50 knots, bang. All I could do was just
to
swimming
give
with the boat on the beach, dismounting the boat in the storm, securing the boat properly on the rock under the ground, under the water, and I went ashore for the night, and that was it. You touch the ground. So I said, okay, next day I can still um, do a new departure from zero,
Mhm.
giving that maybe, and after the storm, some strong fresh winds come and stuff. Well, nothing came. The day after, it was the Lake
Mm.
Geneva in August. It was
Exactly.
nothing. It was mirror. I
Mhm.
made like 5 miles in all day. So, and then I looked at the weather reports and everything, and speculating that it really looks like next days will be no wind. In fact, that was correct, because I would still be there if I didn't stop,
Okay.
because it was absolute
So,
zero for next 2 days. So I wouldn't move anywhere. Probably I would move backward with the current. So I stopped. In fact, makes no sense wasting your energies.
exactly.
You can't make anymore the record. You have limited provisions, limited energy. My autonomy is probably 7-8 days on board, but not more. It becomes really hard, because um, it's really really less than basic life on board of a laser.
Exactly. But and the principle of Vela Code is safety, first of all. So uh,
Fun, pleasure, and safety. uh, Three rules that must be complied with the sailing when it's pleasure sailing. Vela Code is not about racing. It's not about being the fastest, or making time, or proving
it's
that
just
you dare. Uh, Vela Code is promoting sailing as the pure fun, with brains, and with absolutely an accent to always keeping everybody in safe, which I think that in these times is very important, because there are a lot of newcomers into the nautical world, and they are absolutely not aware of what the sea is.
I think
And
that
I often make an analogy like going in the sneakers in the mountain climbing or stuff like that, which also happens all the time. If you listen the um, the guys that then they come and to save people in the night from the climbing, and stuff like that.
no, the sailors have to keep in mind this
I have to give a good
fundamental
example.
principle.
Laser is a small Olympic boat, one of the most popular boats ever. Mine serial number is 224,840. So that's how many boats were made.
Yeah,
So these are young kids, young people sailing laser. You don't want to show them something that you don't want them to do. You want to show them um, that brain is the first thing that the sailor has to use. And then with time, experience, and everything. So my message must be always very, very correct to audience. It's not about being crazy and being somehow daring and
yeah,
challenging. You're challenging yourself already with a life on a laser. So
exactly.
that's the point. No.
But you show also that we can sail without producing any pollution,
Well,
apart from the result of the adventure. But
that's the idea. That's the only result I complied with in these 4 days on the water. Um, if I can sail
this is
without
a win.
making any plastic waste on a boat like that, repacking, pre-packing, choosing carefully what I bring on board, so it's all like aluminum and glass and plastic containers for multi-use. The ones you can have 10 years at home. For food. If you can do that on a laser, every other boat can do it, because less than laser is only Optimist, but I dare anybody to try to even sleep one night in the Optimist.
Exactly.
No, because there are more of schooling boats that are more comfortable
Right?
than laser. Laser is actually even less comfortable than Optimist. There's
Incredible.
nothing that you can't lie, you can't stretch, you can't even stand up. All
It,
you can do to keep yourself fit is regularly jump in the water and stretch and swim a little bit. Otherwise, you will not last. You can't be seated like a frog for
yeah,
days
the length
without
of the
moving.
boat is around 44 meters, right?
4 meter 23 with the only cockpit which is about 90 centimeters by 70 centimeters. Now that's the hole in the board. Otherwise it would be a flat board.
Crazy.
And there you have also to put your stuff. So suddenly what remains to you is 70 by 30 centimeters of life space.
So how about the future? Are you planning to
Oh,
start again?
absolutely. I have to tell you also that Dubrovnik was not the optimal choice for departure because the distances between the islands in the south of Croatia are already on the limit of safety. You know, if it's a good weather, okay, you cover 20 miles of the open sea, but it's not even regularly, properly
With bad weather, it could
suggesting thing,
be.
you know, because this is a coastal boat. It's out of law being really out the 6 miles out of the coast, no? So in some cases you are actually more out, and I don't like that. But it was, as I say, related to a media departure in Dubrovnik with E1 Series Electric Boat Championship, and that was the consequence, no.
Mhm.
But the next attempt, I'm just waiting for the next full moon or the moon after, which is in a month and a half.
Okay.
Just around full moon, I need the night light, you know, because I sail during the night if it's weather, if it's wind. So yeah, I'm totally in the game. I'm just waiting for a good conditions, but it's gonna be Central Adriatic that I really know like my pocket, you know, from island of Loshin all the way down to Split. You know, this is about 100-mile trajectory, full of islands. It's all archipelago.
Yeah.
You can
Right.
always be within the coast. You can always save yourself even by swimming. You are never really in danger. You know, even if the storm hits, you will just go aground and climb out on the island. You know, it will never have. It's like wakeboarding here behind me. You know, it's if you fall, you swim to the coast. No, exactly. No.
So you will probably change a little bit the start of the
Yeah,
position.
the start will be in the middle from Zadar,
Okay.
um, and then I will not travel on the trajectory. I will try to make as many miles as possible. So if it's gonna be, I don't know, the afternoon west wind, I'm not gonna go downwind. You know, I'm gonna go probably tacking downwind,
Okay.
making
Make
higher
a straight
speeds and
plan.
more mileage. Yes, and in the night, usually it would be a coast wind from the northeast, and that I would use even to recover if I need to go to north, but I can also recover if I need to go to south, no, because it's a side wind. So in the night I would simply recover the height on my trajectory, and then during the day I would pump the miles in, you know, and that would be ideally the concept here. Um, and in that case, I if I'm in no wind, I can cover 50 miles a day, like I did now. With a little bit of wind, I can cover 70, which means on average, which means on a good day, I can cover 90 or 100, you know. But let's say that 70 becomes the medium, the average. That's 7 days to do 500 miles. Okay. Very simple. First class, first year math in the elementary school.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It depends on the wind and on position of it.
Yeah. What people don't understand is how complex laser is if you want to do anything else but sailing, because you already need at least one hand for the rudder. No, you
Because
can't
yeah.
fix the rudder on the laser. If it's a
Mhm.
little bit of wind, you have to hold the rudder. So it's one hand remaining. With that hand, and being also very sensitive to the weight distribution, if you want a sandwich during sailing, it's already quite
Just
impossible. You
with
know,
one hand.
you can't open the watertight bag with one hand and take the sandwich out and eat it all with one hand, you know. Um, so you have to kind of stop the boat for anything you really need, or you have to plan in advance everything. So you eat before you sail, and then you sail for 6 7 hours. Then you stop behind some island to go in the water, do your stuff, you know, eat again something, drink, you know. It's very complex. It's like being on a bicycle and trying to do something else, but being on a bicycle, you know.
It's
Also,
crazy.
also being alone means nobody gives you a hand to do anything, you know. Um, Obviously, I wouldn't enter how sleeping on the boat like this is, but I will say it a little taking the drama away. When you're really tired, you sleep in any condition, even if it's raining on you. You know, it doesn't matter.
I can't
and, you,
imagine
and you can
how.
only sleep when it's very low wind, of course, no. And
Mhm.
power sleeps are 15 minutes with a little bit of a wake up, checking the surroundings. recovering the boat from some wrong trajectory,
Hmm.
building it back to some free water, and then sleep another 15 minutes. That's how you sleep, actually. So very much like the alpinism in the highest level, except that it's not cold, it's hot. Which maybe it's not such an advantage because it's frying hot, being 16 hours under the sun. These are the longest days of the year, no? We are
Yeah,
close to the summer solstitium, no? So it's going to be, I think, 6 hours of dark and 18 hours of daylight, So
it's very challenging.
very challenging, but, it can be done. And, all you need is to try to cover a little bit of all the components on the right way. And if it takes 10 attempts, it takes 10 attempts. It's like
Mhm.
Annapurna, you don't get up on the top in one day. Sometimes people are waiting 2 months in the base camp to attack the top.
So we are looking forward to following you again for the next adventure.
Yeah,
And
as I say, it's going to be before the beginning of August. That's for sure.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So
So
maybe next 40 days, sometime in the next 40 days. I
okay,
would say just after the 21st of July, because then when the moon starts building up again, and I will try to find a nice, even by my guts, a nice weather window, because as I say, the wind reports, the wind models, the weather report, if they can't predict a storm that happened 2 days ago, which was major storm, it was not a local thing. It was going from the top of Adriatic all the way to the south of Adriatic, and everywhere made damage. So it was like a 200 miles long storm. So that you can't predict something like that. Let's start to be a little bit concerning how attainable are these predictions. You
yeah,
have to probably go more by guts.
yeah.
And I
Uh,
know this area so well that I might actually do better just knowing the conditions, smelling the weather and wind and everything, and go
yeah,
really
good
by the
prediction.
skin feeling. Now it's a good time.
Okay. Then I want to say you good luck and
Sorry.
see you soon for the next adventure.
I will absolutely inform you. We will not do such a media departure anymore next time.
Okay.
I will reveal you only this. I will inform, of course, partners like you.
Okay.
Uh, Very straight circle at the of the start. The tracker will be on, um, and I will really try to go more explicit on communication when I'm close to 250 miles. You know,
Yeah,
because then I'm only 30 miles away from the world record. No. And
exactly. Because
for
the
those
world
30
record
miles, I'm willing to do anything at the end. So, and then if that comes smoothly through, and I'm gonna have force and provisions and everything all right, I'll keep on going, until the weather will permit me and until the provisions will permit me. In fact, I had too much water this time. I saw that I could last 10 days with the water that I had. Same with the food. I'm not too much of a problematic about eating, so it doesn't need. I don't need lobsters and carbonaras every day. So I, I I
exactly.
see I see that everything works. The only last mosaic is weather now.